Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Path to Play. We are back after our brief World Cup break, and we are very happy to be back with you guys. It is Rory here.
And Valentina.
You may have noticed that we were gone for about a month
Yeah.
and a half, but we are back. We were a little preoccupied with the World Cup, as I'm sure most of you guys were as well, but it has been quite some time, hasn't it?
We definitely caught the World Cup fever for a little bit, but I'm sure most of you guys were keeping up too. And so we're excited to hear some of your guys' favorite moments and what you all did. And basically, today we're just going to catch up. And like Rory said, we are quite excited to be back here. It feels like it's been a
Mhm.
while. And we know you guys didn't forget about us because we didn't forget about you. So it's good to be back and to be talking about soccer all together after a very exciting summer.
Yes, it was quite exciting and there was tons of action. So we wanted to come back and give you guys a bit of a recap episode, go over some of the things we did, what was some of the things we really loved, favorite matches, stadiums, everything in between, and then some things that surprised us, a couple stories. And then looking back and looking forward, what are we hoping for the future World Cups? But Valentina, do you want to start us off with a brief recap of our last month or 2?
Yes. So kicking off our debrief session from the last episode, which was pretty much when the World Cup was kicking off, we have just been watching practically every World Cup game that we could watch. And when we could work around our schedules, we would go to the watch parties. We were going and exploring new spots that were playing all of the matches. We went to the fan fest. We were able to travel and watch a couple of games. And we also saw people we weren't expecting to see, and we
Mhm.
met people quite literally from all around the world. And it has just been a spectacular summer in all ways. It has been so busy and chaotic in some moments, but overall, I think it has been a very memorable 2 months.
Oh, 100%. It's probably my favorite summer so far. If there could be another one in debate, but definitely top 3. Could you walk us through the games that you went to and where they were?
Yeah, so I got to go to 2, luckily, and was supposed to go to the 3rd one you went to, but I was still finishing up some school stuff, so unfortunately, can't skip out on final exams, as it turns out. So, in any other situation, I would have, but that was obviously priority. So, I got to go to the Norway-Senegal game in New York. That was the first game that I got to see, that was awesome. Literally the next day, we went to the England-Ghana game here in Boston, which was so awesome, and it was just cool to be able to do that in the city that you're living in because, I mean, who would have ever thought, truly? So, obviously, you were at those 2. What was the 3rd one that you got to go to? That was before these 2 games as well.
Yeah, so I went to one of the first games here in Boston, and it was Norway versus Iraq. So I got to see Norway twice, which was super fun, super cool. Ended up being a really good game. I think it was 4-1. So that's a lot of goals to see. And then, like Valentina was saying, it was 2 games back to back in New York and then in Boston. Took the train up very early in the morning, but how can you miss out on a game like that?
Yeah, it kinda felt like we were following Norway for a little bit,
Yeah, it did.
and we got to see one of Rory's really old teammates unexpectedly that happens to be from Norway, who was actually following the Norwegian team, so, obviously, that was an amazing way to see someone that we hadn't seen in many, many years.
Yeah, that was not planned either, which made it even better, but he's obviously from Norway, and we hadn't seen him since 2020, and a couple days before the game, I was like, "Might as well text him because 'cause we're going to the Norway
Mhm.
game," and like Valentina was saying, he had traveled here and was following Norway and went to, I think, 3 or 4 games, but we
Yeah.
got to see him twice, so that was super fun.
Yeah, what an awesome catch up that was. So, those were the in-person games that we obviously went to, but I mean, we were just able to be a part of the fan fest. We got to see Boston in action, New York in action, Seattle in action, and I can imagine all the other cities in the host countries for the World Cup were so insane. Like, we had a couple friends that told us they went to Mexico City to
Mhm.
watch and be part of the fan fest, which if you guys haven't looked that up or know the sheer volume of people in Mexico City, definitely look up the fan fest there and the craziness that happened. So it was an even better experience also to just be a part of all of that atmosphere outside of the actual stadium.
Yeah, and I think we've definitely been talking about this a lot. It's felt way different because we've been here and been part of it. Because I mean, the last World Cups have been so far away, all over Qatar, Russia.
Right.
So it's just like crazy different time zones, places you've never been, and so when it's here and the people are coming to you, it was so cool. Like, the Scottish invasion here in Boston was unbelievable.
Right. Like, our whole existence here, as far as I can remember, as in our whole lives, we have obviously only followed the World Cup on TV. So
Mhm.
I never would have, I know we said this in the World Cup special, but I never would have imagined to experience the World Cup in person in this way. So it was really, truly something memorable. So, to your point about the Scottish people, let's talk about some favorite moments. So, before we talk about matches and players, since you brought up the Scottish fans and the Scotland team, what did you think about all of the Scottish people that took over Boston? Was that one of your favorite moments?
Oh, easily number 1 favorite.
Tell us more.
If you guys didn't see this, which I know it went pretty viral, there was, I wanna say, like, 50,000,
Yeah.
Scottish fans who traveled from Scotland to Boston because they played their first 2 games here, so they were here for about a week and a half, I wanna say, and no joke, they were out and about from, like, 10 AM to 2 AM every single day. They were everywhere. As soon as we left our apartment, we'd see them. We'd see him at night. Every time I hung out with them, the people I was talking to offered me a place to stay in Scotland
Yeah.
because 'cause they're super nice.
And let's just give some context here. Why was it that they were so excited and incredibly passionate and energized to be here? Like, why was this so meaningful to the people of Scotland to be playing in this World Cup?
They hadn't qualified in, like, 36 years or something like that, so it had been a really long time, and they've had a pretty good team the last 2 or 3 World Cups and have been pretty close, but they haven't made it. So that, on top of, I think, just being able to come to the East Coast, so not super far for them, great culture combination. I think it was just the perfect storm for them.
It really was. And I obviously can't say enough how much that probably meant to them that it had been that many years since they had qualified for the World Cup. So obviously huge soccer fans and huge soccer culture in Scotland. So to be here was probably one of the more iconic trips that they'll ever
Oh,
experience.
yeah, big
And
time.
the reason we knew that they were slowly trickling into Boston and they were easy to pick out is because there were kilts everywhere,
Yep.
like 2.5 weeks straight, probably some stragglers throughout the 3rd week, Scottish kilts all over the place, crazy energy, chanting on the streets, mosh pits happening outside in alleyways and main streets too. I mean, I would have never imagined that Boston would adhere to
No.
the Scottish culture in the way that they did. So needless to say, that was unlike anything we had ever experienced really, and the whole energy of Boston was changed, I think, forever after that period of
100%,
time. It was
yeah.
really cool.
Would you say that was your favorite moment as well?
It was up there with one of my favorites. If I had to say other favorite moments, probably Mexico England game, that was a super fun match to watch. And even though they lost, it was a pretty historic match to say the least.
Yeah, it was, and it was tense
It
as well.
was, yeah.
Alright, and of the games we went to, what would you say your favorite atmosphere was?
Probably the Norway Senegal game. I was sitting next to a couple of Senegalese fans to my left, and then obviously you guys were to my right, and majority of the fans in the stadium were Norwegian, which was interesting, but I would just say overall, I think probably because that was my first game there, it felt a little bit extra exciting, and then being able to see the famous Norwegian Viking row and the whole experience of seeing the game in a different city was also pretty cool. So, I would probably have to put that one up there for best match atmosphere, but being at the England-Ghana game was also really cool because we were pretty up close, and there are obviously some very passionate Englishmen there, so that was also an experience.
Yeah, I agree. That Norway-Senegal game was awesome, and the Viking row is unreal in person.
Yeah.
I do think for me, in-game atmosphere was a little better at the England game. Partially because when the Norwegians are doing their chants, it's not in English. You have no idea what they're saying. And so we kind of were close to the English section, so it was really fun to be by them, and they have it so dialed in. They all know all the chants.
Mhm.
They know when they're gonna sing them. They're all so bought in. It was a really cool atmosphere to be a part of.
Yeah. What were some of your favorite players to watch? You can say live or on TV as well.
I would say live was definitely Holland. I
Okay.
saw him twice, like I said, and he is just such a beast in person.
Yeah.
Even from high up, you can just tell how massive he is and how much stronger and faster he is than everyone.
Mhm.
So seeing him in person was super fun. On TV, there were a few. I mean, it's always great to see Messi just be 40 and somehow be the best player on the field. So
Mhm.
that was super fun to watch. And then probably Jude Bellingham. He was just so good in all those England games and was just really put on an exhibition, I thought.
Yeah, he was really strong that whole tournament for sure.
What about you?
Well, I think Oyarzabal from
Mhm.
Spain had a really solid tournament, and I'll be honest, I don't follow him on a regular basis, and he really stood out to me this tournament. And I also very much enjoyed watching Cape Verde as a whole, but particularly the keeper was very impressive.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cape Verde's first World Cup ever, for those who don't know, so I just thought that that was amazing. And then I also think Messi is always a sure thing, and it's
Mhm.
crazy to see him still playing. And then from Mexico, Gilberto Mora, young player, so I didn't know much about him, and I think he kind of blew up after this tournament, but he did really well.
I agree. I had heard a little bit about him, and he was
Mhm.
kind of one of those guys who people are saying he's one to watch, and he definitely didn't disappoint. He's in Mexico now playing, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a move to Europe pretty soon,
Oh,
that would be sick.
sad for
And yeah,
for local
yes.
fans.
All right, what are some things that surprised you? It could be team, player, just in general incidents that happened during the tournament, games, anything.
I was very surprised by Cape Verde's overall
Yeah.
performance. They did so well, you guys, and our painter for our building just so happened to be from Cape Verde, and I didn't know till I was wearing a Mexico jersey, and he asked me if I was following Mexico, and so we just got to talking, and he was so proud, so proud of his team at the World Cup, and just ran into him the other day for the first time after the tournament, and he was so excited. I mean, Cape Verde won in his eyes, and
Yeah.
I think so too. I was like, "I'm gonna give it to you, sir." Like, I think I think they did win this one, so that was surprising. What about you?
I definitely agree with that. I honestly thought they were gonna go 0 wins from 3 and
Yeah, I
just
couldn't
kinda get
believe it.
blown out, but, yeah, they were definitely story of the tournament for sure.
Mhm.
Another thing that surprised me, I would have to say, is the administration getting involved in the tournament.
Agree.
Really didn't see that one coming, didn't
No.
put a bet on that before the tournament, which didn't end up going over too well, I wouldn't say, but, yeah, that was definitely a bit controversial, but what good World Cup doesn't have a little bit of controversy in it?
Yeah, and it was a little bit almost kind of ironic because, there's all these known facts about FIFA and the
Yeah.
corruption behind it, and so for that to happen in such a blatant way for the fans to see was just kind of a slap in the face
Oh, big
almost.
time, yeah. Yeah,
Wait,
when it was all going down, I was kinda like, "I don't know if this is gonna go over well."
yeah, yeah, it was a little bit hard to watch. Was there anything that you didn't like about the World Cup? Obviously, we're saying all the best things in the world, and we're clearly nostalgic already
Yeah.
about the World Cup. But was there anything that you didn't like from the tournament and the event?
Yeah, I would say probably the transportation setup and the pricing of it all. To take the train to the stadium in Boston, which is like 30 minutes outside of the city, it was like $80. And then to take the train from New York City to the stadium that was in New Jersey was set to $100. So I feel like there's just no need to up those prices that much, like, people are just trying to go watch the game. It's better if people are taking public transportation so there's less traffic. That felt a little unnecessary.
I would agree. I think it was a little bit disappointing to see that the public transportation prices increased by a lot, knowing that the demand was obviously going to increase for these games. So that was tough, but it all worked out in the end and made for a good story of us getting caught in the storm
Mhm.
and taking forever to get out of there. And I think just the pricing and getting the tickets in general was a little bit of a hassle, but I think everybody knew that as soon as the US and Canada and Mexico became the host countries.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely played on the fact they knew the demand would be ridiculously high so they could kinda
Yeah,
charge whatever they wanted.
yeah.
You'd hope for more out of FIFA, but it's what you'd expect at this point.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of other cities, like the venue in New York, were not the most convenient to get to. So, nothing against the New York, New Jersey venue.
It was far, though. Alright, after this experience, do you think you would go back to another World Cup?
Of course. Of course, of course. I don't even know. I think I would do all that I could to just be where it is.
Yeah. Seriously, it was had high expectations, and it was
It delivered.
blew those out of the water, yeah.
Well, and it would be interesting to compare how other countries put on the same
Yeah, I
experience,
agree.
like, now we can compare this experience to other host countries, so,
I mean, and the next one's in Spain, so, oof,
yeah, I'll be there.
yeah.
Also, another great surprise that I will plug for everyone to go listen to our pre-World Cup episode if we wanna reminisce, but I did, in fact, go on the record and say that Spain would win this World Cup, and what do you know? They are the
Did
world champions, and I was hesitant. I remember I was hesitating when I said Spain, but here we are, couple months later, and they are the world champions, so that's my advice for today, stick with your gut feeling
it?
and be confident. What was your prediction again, just to remind the people?
I went with England. I also went with my gut. I had that feeling. They got 3rd though, so I would say there's worse gut feelings to be had out there.
Yeah, and what a game in that 3rd place
Yes.
game. That was crazy.
That was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I certainly miss the tournament. I miss the daily games.
Yeah, the nonstop entertainment has been thoroughly missed, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the excitement in the city. Hopefully, you all got to watch even just a couple games live, and maybe you happen to be in one of the host cities. If you did and have similar thoughts or a fun experience or story to share, we would love to hear it.
Yeah, we would love to hear. And like we said before, we're happy we're back and we'll be talking about potential impact of this World Cup and how it could affect the US and soccer here going forward.
Yeah, we have a lot of exciting topics in plan, so we are very much looking forward to talking more and to hear more from you guys as well.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.